What is going on, people of the SmartHouse Society? Matt here from mksmarthouse.com, and in this video we're going to be talking about the firmware for the most colorful smart home device, the LED strip. So what's exactly new for the firmware for this LED strip? Well, to start off, it is now compatible with Home Assistant. I won't be covering Home Assistant in this video, but I will be in the future. And if you want to get ahead of the game, then the item config will be in the description below. What's also new is you can set up this device entirely using your mobile phone. So you no longer have to mess around with the Arduino ID and connecting it. You just have to connect it to Wi-Fi using your phone. There's also MQTT authentication support. So those of you that have secured MQTT servers with username and passwords, you can now enter them when you set up the device. But the biggest change in firmware version 2 is effects. As you may have noticed behind me, the LED strip is changing colors. This effect is called a rainbow. And lastly, there is a status portal. So you can now see all of the configuration that you configured the device, such as the host name, the IP address of the MQTT server it's connected to, the MQTT topic it's using, the status topic, how to update the firmware, a bunch of things. I'll cover that later on in the video. As you may have noticed, this LED strip device is using a custom PCB. Here it is actually. And recently I've been getting my PCBs from PCBWAY. So PCBWAY is how you prototype the easy way. They have full-on PCB prototype service. They also have PCB assembly and SMD stencil, as well as a bunch of other things. Right now they are holding November and December shopping festival for upcoming Christmas and Thanksgiving Day. There's free prototyping for a Christmas PCB design from October 25th to December 10th. Also from October 30th to November 1st, there's a large discount or coupon for Halloween. And if you use the cash code on the screen now, you can get $5 off your order. So head on over to PCBWAY.com now. So what is the LED strip control exactly? Well, it's a device that I designed that, like the name implies, controls an LED strip. But in this firmware version 2, I forgot to mention, there's also now effect. Let me give you a demo of everything that you can do. So I have the OpenHAB app open on my phone right now, and as you can see, if we scroll down to the MK room frame, we can see a bunch of devices. So we're going to be focusing on the LED strips, but I have two LED strips, so we're just going to focus on the first one right here. This is the desk LED strip. So with this first item here, this is just to basically control the color. And this is the same thing as it was in firmware version 2. If you press the down arrow, turns off the LED strip, press the up arrow, turns it on, and then you can choose any color you want from this color picker right here. Then what's new is we now have effects. So these are all the effects that I've made. If you guys have suggestions for any effects you'd like to see in the future, put them down in the comments below and maybe I'll make a new version of the software using your effects. But the first effect is fade. And what this does is it fades through the colors, every single color option you can have. But this is kind of going slow, so I'm going to increase the speed using this slider, which is the next item. As you can see, it's now going a little bit faster and cycling through the colors. So the next effect is police, but I'm going to lower down the speed for this one because it flashes really fast. So police, all it does is just blink red and blue. But we don't want any seizures here, so we're going to move on to cold and increase the speed for that one. So what cold is it just goes through the different shades of blue. It's kind of hard to tell on camera because the camera isn't good at picking up different colors of light, but you get the idea. All right, the next option is warm, which is the opposite of cold. And so this just goes through some nice yellows, oranges, reds, as you would in a fire. So it's just like a nice warm vibe. All right. And then the next one is breathe. So what this does is if you can choose any color in here and it will breathe the color. You double tap on the color and it breathes that color. So it goes in and out, just like you would breathing. So I can double tap on blue and it breathes the blue color. All right. And then finally, the last one, rainbow. So this goes through all the different colors of the rainbow. And you can adjust the speed using the speed slider. So I hope you guys enjoyed that demo of the different items for the LED strip, as well as the new effects and how you can change the speed. My personal favorite is warm because right now it's the winter time and it just makes me feel a little bit warmer, even though that it has absolutely no effect and it's playing mentally. So with firmware version 2 comes the biggest thing. On mksmarthouse.com/shop, all of the kits and assembled devices come pre-flashed. So if you purchase a DIY kit, all you have to do is solder it together and plug it in. If you buy assembled, you just have to plug it in. Everything is pre-flashed. This is the final V2 video, which it's been a long journey, but this is finally the last one. So again, anything you buy on mksmarthouse.com/shop has the firmware pre-flashed, and you just need to set it up from your phone and connect it to OpenHAB. And so that means the promo code V2 for 10% off is coming to an end. From the time that this video goes live, you have 72 hours to use the coupon code V2. So I'm going to make this coupon code end Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this will be your last chance to get 10% off at mksmarthouse.com/shop. So don't wait, the timer is ticking. Hurry in because I don't know when 10% will come back. And now you get everything pre-flashed, so it's the perfect opportunity. So what are you gonna need for this video? Well, you're gonna need a computer and a mobile device. But if you have no firmware on your device, you're going to need an Arduino of some kind and male-to-male jumper cables. You can find these over at mksmarthouse.com/shop too. They're for a pretty good price. The links to all the tools and parts used in this video are in the description below. Also in the description, follow at MK-SmartHouse on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, because that's where I give you updates on what videos I'm going to be doing, as well as things only a true smart home enthusiast would enjoy. At this point, if you bought a pre-flash device, whether that be a DIY kit or assembled, then skip to the timestamp on the screen now. Otherwise, keep watching and I'll show you how to get to firmware version 2. The first thing we're going to do is download the firmware from my website. I will leave a link to the exact page in the description. But we want to go to LED strip, and then we want to go to the links page on the LED strip guide. Then we're going to scroll down to LED strip control V2 firmware. You want to enter an email address. The reason I asked for an email address is so that way if I update the firmware, you will be notified. Then click download file, and click here to go to the download page. Then you want to click on the green download button and it should download the file. At this point, if your device already has the firmware version 1 installed on it, then skip to the timestamp on the screen now. Otherwise, we're going to install it from scratch. Alright, to install the firmware if your device has no firmware, we're going to need a program called PiFlasher. So click on the link. It's also in the links page of the LED strip guide. Go here, click on it. It will take you to its GitHub page, and then you want to click on the one according to your operating system. So if you're running 64-bit Windows, click on this one, 32-bit this one, and if you're on a Mac, click this one, the DMG file. I already have it, so I'm not going to install it. So I'm going to go to my Launchpad and click on the Node MCU PiFlasher 3.0, and this is the program. So the first part is the serial port. So click on the drop down and memorize what devices are here. Now we're going to connect the device to an Arduino using jumper cables. Alright, so I've connected the LED strip control to the Arduino Uno. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that you jump reset and ground. So you want to put a jumper in between reset and ground on the Arduino. Then you just want to connect the corresponding pins on the LED strip to the Arduino. So first up I have ground. I've connected ground from the control to the Arduino. Then I have 3.3 volts. There you go. And then I have RX, connected it to RX here, and then lastly TX from here to here. And you also want to make sure you have a jumper over PGM or program on the LED strip control. Alright, once that's all connected, we're just going to take the USB cable and plug it into the computer. Alright, now that the Arduino is connected, click this little refresh button next to the drop down, then click on the drop down and you should see a new device at the bottom. Click on that device. The next part is Node MCU firmware. So this is where we're going to choose what we're going to flash to the device. So click the browse button, go to your downloads folder and click on the ledstrip.bin file. There you go. And click open. Next is the baud rate. Make sure that's 115200. Then is flash mode. Make sure it's dual IO. And then lastly, erase flash. Yes, we want to wipe all data. And click flash node MCU. And it will go through and flash the firmware. Alright, it finished flashing the firmware. You can simply exit out of the program and unplug the Arduino from your computer. And then unplug the jumper cables in between the device and the Arduino. At this point, your device is flashed with firmware version 2, so you can skip to the timestamp on the screen now. Alright, if you have firmware version 1, we are simply going to update the device using the web portal. And to do that, you want to open a new tab in your browser, type in http://. Now type in the host name of the device. This is what you wrote in the Arduino file for the host name. So mine is MK-LED strip control 1, and then you want to write .local and then /firmware. It's going to ask you for a username and password. This is the username and password we used in the Arduino file. It will then load up the page like this. Then you want to go to choose file, then go to your downloads. Click on the MK-LED strip control v2.ino.nodemcu.bin. Then click open and click update. It's now writing the firmware to the device and updating it. Alright, it's done. If you're a smart home enthusiast like me and want to show that you're an elite member of the smart home community, then check out smarthoussociety.com. If you want to support my channel, then check out the link in the description and grab yourself a premium quality hoodie, shirt, or hat. Now that the device has firmware version 2, we're going to connect it to Wi-Fi. But before we do that, we need to make sure that the 2-pin jumper is overrun. This puts the device in run mode, so it starts booting up. And now we can go ahead and connect it to power. I have a couple of these DC extensions that I'm going to use because the power adapter is a little bit of way. You can pick up these extensions on my website, mksmarthouse.com/shop. And then we are going to plug it in. Boom, there you go. The red light came on. And I'm also going to connect the LED strip. There we go. So the LED strip is also connected. So that way, once we set it up, we can go ahead and start using it. Now I'm going to grab my mobile device and go into Wi-Fi. As you can see, the MK LED strip control pops up. I'm going to tap on it and a web portal pops up. Let me go over the different options that we have in this portal. So the first one is configure Wi-Fi, and that's what we're going to tap, but we're going to move on from that. So configure Wi-Fi no scan is the same thing as configure Wi-Fi, except it doesn't scan for Wi-Fi. You manually type in your SSID and password. So this is good if you have a hidden Wi-Fi network that doesn't broadcast the Wi-Fi signal. Next is info, and this shows you different information about the device. Then lastly, we have the reset button, which just does a power cycle of the device. So we're going to go ahead and click configure Wi-Fi. So this is the configuration portal. So first we're going to select our Wi-Fi network. Mine is K Wi-Fi, and then type in the password. Alright, password is in. The next part is hostname / mqtt ID. So the hostname is what's seen on your Wi-Fi network, and then mqtt is what's seen internally from the mqtt side. So I'm going to name it MK-LED strip control 1. So next is mqtt settings. So the first one is the mqtt server IP address. Mine is 192.168.0.4. So if you're following along with my videos, the IP address for the mqtt is the same thing as your OpenHAB server. Next is the port. The default port is 1883. If you have a different one, then enter it there. Next is the mqtt topic. The mqtt topic is where we're going to be sending commands to from the server. I'm going to give mine the topic mk-. So this is the topic that I gave mine. You can give yours a different topic, but I recommend you do the one that I show you in this video, so that way it's easier for you to follow along. You can always change stuff in the future. So I put a number 1 because this is the first LED strip control. If you have more, you can just keep on iterating the number at the end. Alright, so next is authentication. So I have a false because my mqtt server is not authenticated, so it doesn't use a username and password. If your server uses a username and password, Just change this false to true and enter your username and password. So next is the web updater. So this is also known as the new web portal where you'll be able to see your settings and stuff. So go ahead and give it a password, username and password. Obviously I'm going to change this later, but so the reason I do authentication is so somebody can't just come in, see your MQTT settings, or even update the firmware. And then next is /firmware, and so that's the URL you're going to use to access the device. So it's going to be http:// IP address.local or hostname.local/firmware, and that's where you'll be able to update the firmware. Alright, and then at the bottom it says to reset device settings, restart the device and quickly move the jumper from run to program. Wait 10 seconds and put the jumper back to run. I'll show you this at the very end of the video, how to reset the device, but that's where it is, and that's how you'll be able to change the settings. You have to do this process. Alright, now just click save. So the way this works is if it disappears, if this portal disappears from your screen and the Wi-Fi network disappears, then that means it connected successfully to your server and to your Wi-Fi. Oh, there we go. It disappeared from the screen and the Wi-Fi network disappeared as well. That means it's successfully connected. So now that the device is connected to Wi-Fi, we need to connect it to OpenHAB. So open up my website up to the LED strip control guide and click on the software tab. I will leave a link in the description below. And then we want to scroll down to the commands. So in order to execute these commands, we're going to need to SSH into the server. If you're on Windows, use PuTTY, and if you're on Mac, we're going to use Terminal. Alright, so I'm SSH'd into my server. The first thing we're going to do is create the items. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the items file, gonna enter my password, and here we have my items file. So I have already put in the items into my items file beforehand, and so here they are, right here. LED strip control right there. So what I did was I took all of these, this right here, and I pasted it in here. But let me go over what each one of these do. So the first one is just a comment. It's just saying that we're going to be declaring LED strip controls. Oh, by the way, here I have my commands for my second LED strip. So you can have more than one of these LED strips. You can have as many as you'd like. And so if you want to see the difference between having two, here they are. When you're setting it up, you just need to make sure that you put a 2 everywhere that you see a 1. So the next item is a group item. And so what this does is it just groups all of the devices together. Then we have the color item. So this is what's going to be in the sitemap. And it's how we're going to interface with the device in terms of choosing the color and turning it on and off. So we're calling it MK LED strip control color, saying this is the desk LED strip because this is going behind my monitors, so it's part of the desk. We're going to have the picture next to it, a color picker, and then it's part of the group, and we also have lighting, so that way we can choose the color from an Amazon Echo, Siri, or Google Home. Then next to that we have this string, and so we're calling this MK LED strip control string. We're still calling it the desk LED strip. And so what this item does is this is what actually sends the color to the LED strip. Due to OpenHAB, it can't directly talk to the LED strip because the LED strip is RGB and OpenHAB is HSB. So what we're doing is we're sending in the color from this item using the rules file, and the rules file sends to this string item. We'll take a look at the rules file later. And then so it's part of the group, and this is the mqtt command. This is it sending to the LED strip right here. So here we have our mqtt topic that we typed into the device when we set it up. So let's confirm that this is the same mqtt topic that we typed into the device. So to check that, we can simply open up the portal. So to access the portal of the device, you want to type in http:// the host name of the device. So mine is mk-LED strip control 1, and then you want to write .local and press enter. It'll ask you for a username and password. This is the username and password we used when we set up the device. Alright, boom, we are into the portal. So the first item, I'll put it in the middle. The first item is hostname. So this is the hostname of the device. Next is the MQTT server it's connected to, the port it's using, whether it's using authentication or not, the command topic it's using. So this is that MQTT topic that we're sending commands to it. And then we have the status topic. So this is where it sends commands to. So it's based on a two-way communication. When you send the device a command, it sends one back to confirming that it received it. So this works for the effect and the speed, but it doesn't work for the color because OpenHAB doesn't like receiving RGB values. So we want this mqtt command topic to match this right here. And we also want it to match the speed and the effect. And then we want the state topic to match the states of all of these. So there we go, right here and right here. But with the speed and effect, you also want to do a /speed and a /effect. So that tells you the status of the speed or the effect. All right, so that is the sending the color. So the next item is the dimmer, and we're saying this is MK LED strip control 1 speed. So this controls the speed of the effect that's going on. So I gave it the time image. So this is the image that shows up in the UI. And then it's also part of the same group. We're sending a command to this topic and then receiving a command from this topic, the speed command. And then we have auto update false, so that way we can have that two-way communication. So it only updates once it receives the command back. Then we have the effect, so this is a string, and so we're saying desk LED strip string. I gave it the image of an RGB because I think that looks kind of like effect-like. Also part of the group, we're sending commands from OpenHAB to here and receiving from the device from here from the effect topic. And it's also auto update false, so we have the two-way communication. All right, that's it for the items file. Press Control X, then Y and enter, but I didn't make any modifications. But you will, so you'll have to press Control X, Y, and enter. So next we're going to add the items into the sitemap. Type in sudo nano /etc/openhab2/sitemaps/home.sitemap and press enter. So I put mine in my room, so they are in the MK-room frame. So they are right here. Again, I have two LED strips, so I put it in twice, but in this one I changed the 1s to 2s. So the first item is the color picker item. So again, what you want to do is you're just going to copy this and paste it into a frame that you have in your sitemap. So again, I put mine in MK room. So the first item is the color picker item. So this is where we can choose the individual color as well as turn it on and off. Then we have the effect selection. So it's a selection item. So it's going to create a drop down so you can choose which effect you want. I made this name. So back to here, you want these to match the items that you wrote in your items file. So see, I have the color right here, MK LED strip 1 color. There it is in the sitemap file. But anyway, so again, the color picker, choose what color, turn it on and off. Then we have selection item. This is going to create a drop down, and in the drop down we're going to have these selections. And then lastly we have a slider item, so we can slide and choose the speed of the effect. Alright, then you're going to press Control X, then Y and enter. And then lastly we're going to modify the rules file. So type in sudo nano /etc/openhab2/rules/home.rules. Press enter. So the first thing we're going to do is take these variables right here and put them at the top of your rules file. I have them below these variables, but still just put them somewhere at the top before any of your rules. All right, next we're gonna put in this rule, and I put mine right here. So here we go, we have the one for the first LED strip control, and we have one for the second one. So I simply just copied this and pasted it in here. And what this simply does is it just turns the OpenHAB HSB value into an RGB value that the LED strip understands. Without this component in your rules file, this will not work. All right, now press Control X, then Y and enter. All right, everything is now in OpenHAB. And then lastly, you're gonna wanna restart OpenHAB so that way everything is nice and freshly updated. So type in sudo systemctl restart openhab2.service and click enter. All right, now that OpenHAB is restarted, let's go ahead and access our basic UI. So we're going to go to our main configuration and go to basic UI. And as you can see, we have all the items here. If I click, let's change it to warm. And as you can see, the LED strip changed to warm. That means it's all working good. You can go ahead and play around with the different items and make sure they're all working, which they should if you follow this video exactly. Alright, now we're going to go over how to reset the device. The first thing you want to do is unplug the device, then plug it back in and quickly move the jumper from run to program and wait 10 seconds. After 10 seconds is over, unplug the device, then move the jumper back over run and plug the device back in. The device is now reset and you can change or update the settings from Wi-Fi. That concludes this complete guide for firmware version 2 for the LED strip. In the description, you'll find links to all the parts and tools and devices used in the video, as well as a link to mksmarthouse.com/shop, where I have a wide range of smart home kits that you can put together. Alright, if you found this video helpful, click that like button, and if you're a smart home enthusiast like me, then you belong on this channel, so hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below or head over to mksmarthouse.com/forum. Goodbye.
No.